Hi, everybody. So now that you have spent the week working on finding the mean and the median by hand, and hopefully you've been doing some standard deviation by using the tables the table method that we set out using the formula. But now I wanted to show you how you can do this on the calculator, okay? Now, when I still ask you to do something by hand or do it out the long way, that means that I want you to use the methods that we've lined up in the lectures. But after you have, finished the assignment where the things say by hand, then you feel free to go ahead and use your calculator to do any calculations from here on out, okay? All right, but it is important that you understand how to do it by hand because it gives you a little bit deeper understanding of what these different calculations are. Okay, so let's go ahead and use our calculator to do some statistics here. All right, so turn our guy on here. And when we do statistics on our calculator, everything is going to be under the Stat button. So we'll go ahead and click Stat. And the first thing we need to do is enter in what raw data that we have, okay? So I've got just a list of 12 numbers up here, and we're gonna do that right there at Edit, so we can just hit Enter. Now, if you notice, in my table, in my lists, that's what these are called, I already have information. Yours might be empty. If they're empty, fantastic. If they're not, if they're like mine, you can clear them by using your arrow to go above and then press clear and enter. And notice how the whole entire list disappears. So use your arrow, go above, clear, and enter. And now it's like starting fresh. So in L1, I'm gonna enter my numbers. So 10, 15. So do the same thing, bear with me here as we do this. Take your time so that you make sure that the numbers you put in there are the numbers you want. Okay. And then after the 25, make sure you hit enter to get the 25 in there. Now, though, we need to get out of the list. And you can't just push clear or enter to get out of here. What you have to do is use the quit button. So we're going to go second quit. And that gets us back to our main screen. So back to the main screen then. Now, we want, let's say, the mean and the standard deviation and that kind of stuff. So we're going to go back to Stat, click Stat again. But this time we want some calculations. So in order to get calculations, we're going to use our arrow to slide over to Calc. And we have one variable statistics. So we have one variable in there. So we can click Enter here. And then you can just enter right through all of this. And then you should get a list of calculations. So I get that it says that the mean, X bar, is equal to 14.67, rounding it. It gives us some information we don't really need. But then here we have what it says SX, and that's S sub X. So what it's doing is it's telling you that it's doing this for the first variable for X. And that's our standard deviation, and it's S, so that's our sample standard deviation. So our sample standard deviation is 7.11, which happens to be my birthday. Yep, 7/11/77. Okay, and then right underneath it, it's got sigma sub X. So sigma, remember, is our population standard deviation. So if this was a population, then we'd want to use that one where we get 6.81. Okay, and then you can use your arrows to slide down. It tells you the min, it gives you the quartiles, the median. There's the median, 13.5. Okay, so there is a bunch of information. Okay, now let's just say that you did have two sets of data that you were interested in. We only have one, so I'm just going to make something up here. But let's go back to Stat, press Edit. Now I'm going to leave the one that I have there, but I'm going to go to list 2. And I think I'm just going to put in the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just to make life easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, just to have something in there. And then remember, we're going to go second quit to get out of there. Okay. Now, when we go back to Stat and over to Calculate, This time we have two sets of data in there. So we're going to go to two variable statistics. Okay, two variable statistics, and hit enter there. And then again, slide through these, boop, 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 boop. Oh, the dimensions mismatched. That's my fault. So we had 12 data values. So let me get back to, so clear, get back to stat. Okay, remember we had 12 data values in the first set, but in the second set, I only put in 5. Well, apparently we learned something new. If you want to use the two variable stats, they need to have the same number. So let's just go 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, now they both line up. Sorry about that little thing, but you live and learn. So second quit, and then stat, over to calc, and then two variable statistics. Now, hopefully this time it'll give it to us. So again, cycle through. All right. Now, it looks very similar to the screen we saw before. There's the mean, 14.67, the standard deviation, both sample and population. And as we slide down, all of a sudden, there's the Y bar, okay? So there is the Y bar of 6.5. There is SY, which would be the standard deviation of Y, or the standard deviation of that second set of data. So 3.6. The population standard deviation for that second set of data is 3.45. Okay, so you get a little bit more information here. So here's the minimum and the maximum for the X's. Here's the minimum and the maximum for the Y's. So we've got the two sets of data in the two columns, and so it can give us both sets at the same, both information at the same time. Okay, but again, that's basically you're going to edit to change your lists, and then clear out of there or quit out of there, and then you're going to calc to do your calculations. Okay, sound good to everybody? All righty, so that's it for today. Bye.